It's time to accelerate. Hi, I'm your host, Andy Paul. Join me as I host conversations with the leading experts in sales, marketing, sales automation, sales process, leadership, management, training, coaching, any resource that I believe to help you accelerate the growth of your sales, your business, and most importantly, you. All right, we're back with Dan Waldschmidt. We're having a great conversation about leadership, change mechanics. So one thing I want to get into with you is you incorporate a lot of physical challenges into your life, right? I mean, do you see physical challenges as part of the change that people need to incorporate in order to succeed? I mean, is that something you see a correlation with, or maybe it's not even maybe it's some challenge outside of work, let's say, whether it's physical or whatever, though I know you and I both love the physical challenge part of it.
Yeah. So I think here's what I've observed. There are a lot of intangibles in life, right? A lot of things that are out of your control. For instance, we work with companies and that company gets bought by another company and they all of a sudden decide we like this handsome dude. We like this handsome dude named Dan Waldschmidt, but we no longer need to hire him. And I'm going, wait, don't fire me. But hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles. That's outside my control. Now, why I like physical challenges are because it feels like more is in my control. So like with running, I went running a couple hours ago, just a short 8-mile run. Wasn't anything too drawn out. But there I just literally go out of my office. We've got showers and everything here. Throw on a pair of running shorts. I don't even need a shirt. All I need is shorts, a pair of socks and shoes, and I go out and run. And that's it. I come back and I feel great. It feels like there's an honesty there. I can't bullshit it, right? It's like I either did or I didn't. And life is a lot more, it feels like gray. And so with the physical challenge, it empowers me, and it gives me energy and strength to conquer the things that are a little more complex, the things that are a little more emotional, things that require, a little bit more internal resolve. And so I think the physical challenge has this dotted line, if I'm using, the big business jargon, the dotted line to the very dark line, called success. It basically helps me in a lot of ways that aren't clear until they are clear, right? Figure things out. And sometimes in running, I'll have a thought and oh, yes, I should do that. Or why didn't I think of that sooner? Or, hey, Dan, you should apologize to that person. Or you kind of went overboard. Or, call Sarah, my wife, and you should really get this straightened out. It's like, oh, yeah. That wasn't awesome. So just, it's these times where I'm not thinking, my phone isn't with me, and I'm not thinking about anything other than how hard can I run? You know what I mean? What's my training for the day? Am I running hills? Am I running short sprints? Or am I just running a long run to recover? And just letting my mind kind of get healthy again.
Yeah, and I encourage people that are looking at that, what should I do physically? Because, we want to treat the whole person when we're talking about business and business success is if you have a chance and you're looking for making some changes, and one of the changes is what you're doing physically to stay fit and healthy, is think about doing it in a group, because there's that accountability, right? You can't cut corners. If the group says we're going to meet and run every day at 6 a.m., if you don't show up at 6 a.m., you're accountable to these people. Why didn't you show up? And so I think that having this discipline, at least to me, and to the people I work with, that really becomes important. And that does bleed over and does carry over into your work life, because suddenly you're seeing where you were trying to maybe cut corners before, trying to take shortcut, trying to do it the easy way. And hey, if you want to run 100 miles, there's no easy way to train for that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And you're right. When you run a marathon, it's conceivable that you go out and run 20 miles, right? And you come back and you can probably still walk around.
Right.
You probably can't go run 100 miles. One, it's going to take you all day. But you can't just go out and run a 100-mile training run and come back and go, well, I think that was good. I mean, it's going to take your body a few days to recover from that. So there's got to be that requires kind of a different set of skills. I completely agree with you. If you want to conquer in business, one of the ways to get on a fast track there, one of the ways to, as you said, treat the whole you, is to get involved in something. Everyone's doing the CrossFit thing now. I was a joint member of my YMCA for a while during the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Go to these classes. Even as a runner, I got to tell you, it kicked my butt. Doing the burpees and all these different things. I thought I was pretty strong. Guess what? I wasn't.
All those body weight exercises take a toll.
Oh yeah, but you know what it does? It gives you an avenue. I mean, how many people listening say like, "Oh, I'm so frustrated by my boss. I want to choke him." Okay, listen. Go to a class and go do some burpees. You won't want to choke your boss at the end, right? You won't hate your life at the end. Listen, you'll be sweaty, but you'll be like, fist pump to me. I finished it. I feel pretty good, right? What you won't be is, it's just a whole attitude shift. You won't feel hopeless.
Right, and especially these days, given all the social media tools that exist around running, whether it's Strava or Map My Run or Map My Ride, if you're a bicycle rider or whatever, share it. Because then you see what other people are doing, and then you do have this group accountability. And as you said, you're going to be pumped because you're going to get on there and log on your latest ride segment, and you're going to find that you're king of the mountain for the day.
Yeah, that's right. It's exactly right. And guess what? That little extra bit of confidence might be the difference between you biting your tongue or mouthing off to a legacy customer and getting fired. Right? It might be the difference between you having a little bit extra confidence to look your boss in the eye and go, can I be the only one in the room to state the obvious, that this is a really dumb idea? And he goes, you know what? I've been thinking the same thing. I'm glad you had the courage to speak up. There are all these things that confidence, that physical exercise does. And most importantly, it's going to be a stress reliever. There's a lot of stress that we take out on our families. We take out on the wrong people. It's often said you hurt the ones you love the most. And to be honest with you, that's just a better outlet is to say, I'm going to go home and go running, or I'm going to go to a kickboxing class, or I'm going to go to whatever it is. I'm going to go to that group activity and just leave my frustration there. You'll come back feeling so much better. You won't have so much negative energy, and you probably won't be building up any baggage that you'll have to fix later.
Well, all right. And I think this gets back to the whole issue I think you spoke about before in terms of protection, right? People are protecting themselves. A lot of times people don't embark on these physical challenges, whether it's just going to a class or setting a goal of running a marathon or half marathon, because of fear. Right?
That's right.
Fear of failure. Mm-hmm. The only guarantee of failure is if you don't do it, right?
That's exactly right.
So, it really does, I think, for a lot of people, really can help transform them as individuals in their work life. As you said, is to live an important part of your life outside of work. Find that thing that's a real important goal, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical challenge. It could be, a charitable or philanthropic pursuit that you work on. But have something else that you challenge yourself with. And you force yourself to do something new outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, as I think about how I was raised, because often people will say, like, how did you do this stuff at an early age? And I go, look, it's really hard to draw direct lines. There's a lot of dotted lines, but I think overall, the one word that sums it up, and it's not even a word that I coined. Someone else said it to me, and I go, yeah, you've nailed it. Mastery. So one thing that my mom taught me, and she always says, stop telling stories about me on stage and all that stuff. You're embarrassing me. But, she taught us a sense of mastery, that whatever, it's not good enough to be good. You want to be great. And guess what? You can't be great at everything. So find one or two things you can be great at. Be great at those things. But it's not, don't pat yourself on the back just because you're better than one other person. So that's what this physical exercise can do, is it teaches you a sense of mastery. Hey, I did pretty darn good at push-ups. I used to be able to do 3. Now I can do 7. That's awesome. I talked to someone the other day who's lost 50 pounds in the last 8 weeks.
Wow.
That's pretty darn good. Keep going. He's got, 200 more pounds to go. Keep going, right? So this sense of mastery will get you closer to where you want to be. And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of business leaders who are good at I get to the office at 7 a.m., I'm going to leave at 8 a.m. And I don't want to leave at all because then people, won't think I'm serious and all this blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And what they need to do is just say, look, I need to focus on what's important. I'm going to take an hour out of my day, and I do this almost every day. I'm taking 90 minutes out of my day, not at the beginning and not at the end of my day, in the middle of the day, in the prime money-making time of the day. I'm going to take time out of the day to keep my head focused and straight, whether it's meditation, whether it's running and meditation and a shower, whatever it is. Sometimes I have time for all three. Sometimes I have time for one or two, right? But, it's why? Why? Because I'm just much more effective. And for me, that means I might be able to do in 30 minutes what if I would have ground through and not stopped, it might have taken me 2 hours to do that.
Right. No, I agree. It's absolutely essential. I sort of combine that with even every hour. I set a little alarm, take 2 minutes to get up and move and do something just so I can stretch my legs, get refocused, re-energized, come back to work hard for another 58 minutes.
Yep, that's exactly right.
All right, we're going to take one last break. When we come back, we're going to ask Dan some rapid-fire questions. This is Andy Paul, and join us again with Dan Waldschmidt after the break. Hi, this is Andy. Connect and Sell is used by sales reps at nearly 1,000 companies, including hundreds of technology startups and several Fortune 500 companies, to overcome the challenges of getting prospects on the phone. Companies using Connect and Sell grow their revenues faster by enabling their sales reps to have more sales conversations in 90 minutes than they could otherwise achieve in an entire week. Connect and Sell can be deployed directly to your sales reps, or you can take advantage of their outbound on-demand service, which delivers qualified prospect meetings scheduled directly on your sales reps' calendars. Visit connectandsell.com to learn more about how Connect and Sell can start filling your pipeline today. Okay, welcome back with guest today, Dan Waldschmidt. Make sure you follow Dan online at danwaldschmidt.com. A lot of great advice on developing the right attitude to succeed in business and life. So, Dan, we're going to have some rapid-fire questions here. You can give me one-word answers or elaborate if you wish. So, what's the most powerful sales tool in your arsenal?
Honesty.
Name one tool you use for sales management that you can't live without.
Todoist. Love it. Love it.
Tell us about Todoist.
Todoist.com. It has the best series of reoccurring events I've ever found. Most people, I find, are well-meaning, but don't achieve the level of success they could have because they don't do the right things the right number of times. So we have a series of recurring tasks we do every day. And so I think it's important. Those sort of things are wildly important. Todoist.com. It's $3 a month for their super advanced, important package. So I love that.
All right. People, check out Todoist.com. Who's your sales role model?
I often joke Alexander the Great. What I joke about, but on a serious note, back then, if you wanted something, you didn't ask for it. You picked up a sword and took it. Mm-hmm. He didn't dance around in front of people and say, I want you to go. He just said, we're going to take it. 30-second story. When Alexander the Great got to the edge of Persia, King Parthos in India had elephants. And no one had ever conquered India because elephants would step on you and crush you. And so after 10 years of fighting and conquering most of the known world, Alexander's men were tired, hadn't been laid. Literally 10 years, they're out on the road. It's horrible. Alexander the Great, his teacher was Aristotle, who gave him some wise counsel. He stood up in front of his men and he said this simply, I'm hearing these rumblings. I will make those who go with me the envy of those who stay. And then he sat back down. That was it. He didn't try to sell him, right? He didn't try to pitch him. All he basically said was, you know me. Basically what he said in 2015 language was, you know me. If you come with me, we're going to kick butt. And if you don't, you're going to feel like a loser. And I kind of think about that from time to time is in all of our fanciness and nerdiness, and I love the nerdy tools. I love it, love it, love it. I feel like we've lost something, that spirit of conquest, right? Mm-hmm. If you want it, Just go get it. By the way, the conclusion to that story is Alexander the Great was the first general to ever conquer King Parthos.
Right.
And so pretty awesome kind of story I think about all the time.
What's the one book that every salesperson should read?
One of the most truly transformational books from me was an old book, You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar. And that's a book from David Sandler way back in the day.
Got it.
But that changed my thinking as a like a 17, 18-year-old punk. I had read 40 or 50 books on sales, and I was just disappointed. I came across this book, and I thought, yes, now I've got it. Since then, I think there's obviously the model doesn't work really for what I do, and completely as it is, it's a little outdated. But that book changed my thinking. Specifically, the two questions: what makes you say that, and tell me more. In a pinch, instead of trying to sell or close, all I have to do is ask a question. What makes you say that? Has changed my whole life of selling. Literally, those two questions.
What's the one book everyone should read?
Well, I would tell you Edgy Conversations, because that's my book, of course. But on a more serious note, I would say that, let me throw out a category. I find that we don't often spend the time reading biographies, and they're so enriching. You read Walter Isaacson's book about Steve Jobs.
Right.
But I think from time to time, find something that fascinates you and read a biography, because what you're going to find is interesting. You go to business school and you kind of learn how to make a spreadsheet where that revenue arrow just goes up and up and up and up and up and up and up. And it's like you get this sense in your head that if you just follow the right formula, it's all going to work out. And then you read biographies and you hear the tortured existence of high achievers. And it sheds a light on what it really takes to be amazing. And I think you'll learn something from it. You'll learn the other side, the unspoken story of success and leadership. And I know it's framed up my whole life. It's led me to where I am now, and I try to keep reading biographies.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the lesson of persistence, as you talked about, it's just one that's fascinating. We take Ray Kroc, who founded McDonald's.
That's right.
Let's say responsible for the spread of McDonald's.
That's right.
He was 51, had failed several times in previous careers, but through persistence, found the right opportunity. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, William H. Macy. You read his story. Failed 4 times to try to figure out how to set up a department store. Been banker 4 times. It's just, you read these stories. It's easy to say in summary 4 times, but that didn't happen like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It was 4 zealous, hardworking attempts at greatness. Boom, utter failures.
Right.
Utter failures.
And if he had tried to protect himself, it would never have happened.
That's right.
So I think I know the answer to this next one, but I'll ask anyway. Favorite music to listen to psych yourself up for a sales call?
I growing up, I wasn't allowed to listen to much music, but I married my wife, who gave me this whole boot camp on awesome music. My iPod is full of everything from electronic dance to the Eagles but I tell you, a good cello and piano concerto. I know it sounds insane. It will put most people to sleep, but for me, at times, the ebbs and flows empower me to go take on that next hill.
Excellent. First sales activity you do every day?
Check my email. I know some people tell you not to do it, but the first thing I do when I wake up out of bed is triage my email. Delete, 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 delete. Save for later, answer right now. And I'll tell you, that it lets me know. And if you're in a services business and you're not in the habit of always listening to your customers, you're in for failure. If you're one of these people who says only check your email at 2 or 3, depending upon the type of business you're in, you might be in a business where you can get away with it. But I'll be honest with you, if you're in a high response world where you're putting out fires, then being responsive is something that we value. And so it's literally the first thing I do rolling out of bed. I'll walk to the shower on my iPhone going delete, 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 forward, answer later sort of thing.
So tell me one business where responsiveness is not important.
Well, I can't.
Right. So what's the one most important thing a new or inexperienced salesperson should focus on to improve?
Well, I think the idea of trying more is one that I see lacking sometimes. So just being open to the idea that if the secret to success is not the formula, but it's the act of trying. So trying different things, being honest about what works and what doesn't work. And I think it's that mindset shift. You got to be hungry. You got to be hungry. And you're hungry because of why you're hungry. And so you got to spend time focusing on that. Be curious. You know, I have 100 of the smartest sales guru friends in the world whose blogs I read every day, you know, and I'm scanning and I'm zipping and you know what I'm looking for as I'm scanning? What's that one nugget I can take away? I'm power reading. I'm not ingesting every word. I'm zipping along going, give me something. It's that curiosity that even, you know, where I am now in my career, it's like, I know I don't have it figured out. I'm trying to figure it out, right? But that curiosity and hunger is what allows me to keep creating multi-million-dollar success stories.
What's your favorite social media tool?
Twitter, I think.
And why?
I just like the ability to talk to anybody at any time, you know, talk to celebrities, you know, get a fast stream of the news. You kind of feel like you're part of a big kind of like mosh pit, you know, jumping around, tagging people, having fun. Facebook is fun. I don't really care about everyone's political views. So, you know, it seems like that is devolving into we're all going to hell in a handbasket sort of drama. But I enjoy Twitter.
So what celebrities do you tweet to?
A lot of them are runners, ultra runners especially. But it's fun, and I follow. What's funny? I'm a political wonk, so I'm following a lot of the MSNBC, you know, dudes,
right,
you know, and CNN dudes, you know, just listening and catching up. So from time to time we go back and forth on it. By the way, I'm shocked at the number of gurus that are on social media, and I'll message them. And there's no answer back. And I'm like, why are you here if you don't want to have a conversation?
Right.
Why did you show up at the networking event if you don't want to give me a business card? You know, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And by the way, you look at their stream and there's no conversation, Andy, at all. And like, meanwhile, you know, Brian Tracy or others, why are you even here? Like, why, you know what? But, you know, I know one of their interns or somebody told them we have to be on this Twitter. But anyways, times are changing.
What's your secret vice?
I'm not a balanced person in anything I do. My secret vice used to be cigars, but that had to go with running. Yeah, I'm too paranoid to do too much marijuana or anything like that, you know.
Right.
You know, so I don't know. I'm not too adventurous, I guess. But probably the lack of balance is what gets me into trouble the most.
All right. One question you get asked most frequently by salespeople.
You know, how did I become so successful? How did I make so much money? And how can they, you know, what's the one, or actually here's the secret I get. The question is, what's the one thing I can do to be like you? Or what's the one thing I can do to make so much money? And I'm like, wow. Let me give you the answer. There is no one thing you can do.
Exactly.
All
right, last question for you. A little bit of a long question, but so a hypothetical situation. You're new to a company as a manager. You have 1 week to do something that will have an impact with the sales team. What 2 changes do you make that will have that biggest impact?
Something I alluded to earlier with the swords, getting emotional. You know, changing the thinking of people by radically disrupting their mindsets. You know, it might be sometimes sales managers do it by, you know, axing somebody or dropping the axe on somebody. I think that can be a little bit, you know, unnecessary. But literally doing something to shift the mindset, getting out of the office and going doing a mud run.
Right.
You know, or a mud walk. It doesn't even have to be a run. Mud jog. You know, spending time one-on-one with salespeople and really understanding hopes, fears, dreams, passions, loves, strengths, weaknesses, all that stuff. Something that gets inside people's heads and it stimulates them emotionally, not intellectually.
Got it. Great answer. All right, last question. What do you consider your greatest success outside of work?
I used to say running. Now I think it's probably keeping my marriage together. I think I learned a lot. I still am learning a lot. There's a lot I need to learn still. But I think, the beautiful thing, marriage is like the hardest. It's just the hardest thing in the world. And I don't mean that to be negative. I think, what the lessons you learn are beautifully enriching. You know what's awesome is, everybody else is in a marriage is going through the exact same thing. Goods,
Right.
bads, uglies,
Yep.
all the ups and downs and sideways is all of that. And so what's awesome about it is we're all humans and going through the same thing. And so if you can harness that knowledge and awareness and then use it to speak to people honestly, man, it's so powerful. It's so enriching.
Right. I mean, a lot of things that we talked about here today apply to your marriage as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, in terms of succeeding. So, great answer, Dan. I want to thank our guest today, Dan Waldschmidt. Dan, how can people reach out to connect with you?
Go to danwaldschmidt.com or edgyconversations.com. Edgyconversations.com will point you to if it's hard to spell Waldschmidt. If you even get close to it, Google will auto-correct the heck out of you and send you to me, so I'm grateful for them. Thank you, Google. But if you want to go to Edgy Conversations, EDGY, conversations.com, you can find more about us. And, by the way, if you listen to this show and you send me an email saying that you listened, I will send you a T-shirt for free that says "Shut Up and Be Awesome." It has our edgy fist on it. And so this will make sure people listened all the way to the end to us. Send me an email and say you listened to Andy and Dan and you enjoyed this podcast. I'll send you a "Shut Up and Be Awesome" T-shirt.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So remember, people, if you're an entrepreneur, you're in sales. And if you're in sales, you're an entrepreneur. Make it a part of your day every day to learn something new to help you amp up your business. Until next time, good selling, everyone. Hi, this is Andy. I have a special offer for loyal listeners of Accelerate. It's a no-obligation free trial of my zero-time selling interactive online training. Now, I've worked with thousands of sales reps to teach them how to use my zero-time selling to boost their productivity and transform the results. And so if you want to learn the same proven strategies to help you open more doors, have more effective sales conversations with prospects, and close more orders, then my zero-time selling interactive training system is a fit for you. It's incredibly simple to start. Just take out your smartphone and text the word TRUST, that's TRUST, to 96,000. Now, do you have your phone ready? You're going to send a text to 96000. That's a 9 and a 6 followed by 3 zeros. Now enter the single word message TRUST and hit send, and you hear right back from me with instructions on how to sign up for your free trial on my zero-time selling interactive training. I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for listening to the show. If you like what you heard and want to make sure you don't miss any upcoming episodes, please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or Stitcher.com. For more information about today's guest, visit my website at andypaul.com.